the shadows of Loveland, Ohio, there is a tale that has chilled the hearts of locals for decades. A story of a creature that shouldn't exist, yet refuses to disappear. Known as the Loveland Frog, or Frogman, this humanoid amphibian is said to stalk the rivers and woods, its haunting presence forever tied to the town's darkest corners. The creature is described as standing nearly 4 feet tall, its body slick and glistening like that of a frog pulled from murky waters. Its large, bulging eyes are said to glow faintly in the moonlight, watching silently from the underbrush. But the most terrifying detail is its human-like stance, its grotesque limbs mimicking those of a man as it lumbers awkwardly through the night. The first sighting dates back to the 1950s, when a travelling salesman driving through the darkness reported seeing the creature on the side of the road. He described its eerie humanoid figure and the sense of dread that gripped him as its glowing eyes followed his car. More sightings followed, each account more unsettling than the last. Some claimed to hear strange croaking noises at night, an unnatural sound that sent shivers through the trees. Others swore they saw the creature lurking near the riverbanks, its movements jerky and unnerving. But the most chilling tale comes from 1972, when a police officer encountered the Loveland Frog on a lonely road. The officer described the creature leaping over the guardrail and into the dark waters below, its glowing eyes lingering in the blackness for a moment before disappearing entirely. To this day, the Loveland Frog remains an enigma. Some say it's an ancient being, a relic of the swamp, while others believe it's something far darker, a creature not of this world. Whatever it is, it still waits in the shadows, haunting the rivers and woods of Loveland. If you're brave or foolish enough to venture there, beware the glowing eyes that might follow you through the night. The desert stretched out, a desolate expanse of sand and rock baking under the merciless Arizona sun. A legend whispers through the canyons, a tale of reckless ambition and fiery demise. The JATO rocket car, a Darwin Award winner, they say, a testament to the lethal combination of human ingenuity and sheer stupidity. The story goes like this. A man driven by a thirst for speed strapped a pair of JATO units designed to launch heavy aircraft into the sky onto the back of his unsuspecting car. He envisioned soaring across the desert floor, a blur of metal and fire, leaving all earthly limitations in his dust. He didn't account for the sheer, unbridled power he had unleashed. The desert highway became his launch pad, the asphalt shimmering in the midday heat. With a deafening roar, the JATO units ignited, propelling the car forward with terrifying force. Witnesses, they say, watched in disbelief as the vehicle accelerated beyond control, a metal beast unleashed from its earthly constraints. The driver, caught in the grip of forces beyond his comprehension, became a passenger in his own demise. The car, a screaming projectile, hurtled towards the horizon, a fleeting streak against the vast backdrop of the desert. Then the inevitable. A distant plume of smoke, a fiery eruption against the clear blue sky. The JATO rocket car, they say, met its end embedded deep within the side of a mountain, a twisted, mangled wreck, a monument to the folly of man. No official reports exist, no police records document such a fiery demise. safety, weary of the persistent whispers, even issued a press release debunking the legend. Mythbusters, the champions of scientific truth, subjected the tale to rigorous testing, proving its impossibility. Yet, the legend persists, a morbidly fascinating tale whispered around campfires, a chilling reminder of the seductive allure of speed and the devastating consequences of unchecked ambition. And then, years later, a hiker exploring the remote canyons stumbled upon a strange anomaly, a scorched patch of earth high on the side of a cliff, a patch of earth littered with tiny melted fragments of metal, unlike anything found in nature. What do you think? The legend of HMS Friday is a chilling tale that has haunted the Royal Navy for centuries, a tragic story of defiance against superstition and the disastrous consequences that followed. It is said to be the ultimate proof that some myths should never be challenged. The story begins in the late 17th century, during a time when superstition and folklore held a powerful grip over sailors. Among the most feared of these superstitions was the belief that it was cursed to set sail on a Friday. Ships that embarked on such a day were believed to face certain disaster. Storms, shipwrecks, and death were said to follow those who defied the omen. The Royal Navy, determined to dispel this superstition once and for all, decided to prove that there was no truth to the ancient belief. They would build a new ship, a magnificent vessel, and set sail on a Friday to show that no ill fate awaited them. This ship was to be called HMS Friday, a bold and defiant name meant to mock the superstition and the sailors who believed in it. The ship was constructed with great care and was a marvel of engineering. Its launch was celebrated, and the officers of the Navy were eager to prove that the old fears had no place in the modern world. But as HMS Friday left port on a fateful Friday morning, a sense of unease settled over the crew. Despite their bravado, there was an underlying feeling that something was terribly wrong. At first, the voyage seemed uneventful, but soon, strange things began to happen. The weather, typically calm and predictable, turned volatile. Storms began to whip up out of nowhere, battering the ship relentlessly. The crew, though experienced and seasoned, struggled to keep the ship steady against the raging waves. It was as though the very sea itself had turned against them. Then, on the third day of their journey, a catastrophe struck. In the dead of night, with the storm howling like a pack of wolves, HMS Friday was torn apart by a violent crash. Some say the ship collided with a massive, unseen force beneath the water, while others claim it was a huge wave that shattered the hull. The ship sank quickly, dragging most of the crew down with it. Only a handful of men managed to survive, clinging to wreckage in the cold, unforgiving sea. When the survivors were rescued, they could barely speak of what had happened. Their eyes were haunted by a terror that no words could express. What they did say was that there had been something else on board. A presence, a shadow that followed them from the moment they set sail. Some whispered that the spirit of the sea had cursed HMS Friday, and that it would never be forgotten. To this day, the tale of HMS Friday is told in hushed tones among sailors and naval officers. The Royal Navy, after that fateful voyage, reportedly destroyed all records of the ship and the crew, as if trying to erase the curse that had befallen them. But the legend lingers, a grim reminder that some superstitions are not to be trifled with. Those who dare to sail on a Friday may still whisper the name HMS Friday, as a warning to those who think they can challenge fate and live to tell the tale. the shadowed halls of Japan's schools, a chilling legend whispers through the corridors, one that students speak of in hushed tones and avoid at all costs. It is the tale of Hanako-san, the ghost of a young girl who haunts the bathrooms, her presence bound to the third stall on the third floor, and if you dare to summon her, you might never leave the bathroom alive. Hanako-san, a vengeful spirit, or perhaps a restless yokai, is said to have met a tragic death long ago. Some say she drowned in the school's toilet. Others whisper that she was the victim of a gruesome murder, her young life stolen away in the most violent of ways. But whatever the truth, she now haunts the restroom, waiting for those foolish enough to disturb her peace. To summon Hanako-san, you must enter a girl's bathroom, most commonly the one on the third floor of the school, and stand before the third stall. There, in the cold silence, you must knock 3 times on the door. With each knock, the air thickens, growing heavier, colder, as though something or someone is listening. After the final knock, you must ask, "Is Hanako-san there?" If she responds, her voice soft and haunting, a chill will crawl up your spine, and the door will slowly creak open. But beware, what you might see is not a friendly face. Hanako-san is often described as a small girl with short black hair, wearing an old-fashioned school uniform, her face obscured by shadow. Her eyes, if you catch a glimpse of them, are dark voids that seem to draw you in, pulling you closer to an inevitable doom. Some say she will drag you into the toilet, others that she will simply vanish, leaving only a sense of dread and the stench of death in the air. But no matter what you see, one thing is certain. Those who seek her out rarely return unchanged. They are marked by an unsettling presence, a shadow that follows them, and a fear of bathrooms that never truly fades. So, remember this. If you ever hear a knock from the third stall, or feel a cold hand on your shoulder when you least expect it, you'll know Hanako-san is there, waiting, watching, always watching. Deep in the shadowy swamps of Fuke, Arkansas, a creature is said to roam, a nightmarish figure known as the Fuke Monster, also called the Boggy Creek Monster or Swamp Stalker. This beast has haunted the imagination of locals for decades, a being cloaked in mystery, terror, and shadow. The first chilling sightings began in the early 1970s. Witnesses described a hulking, ape-like creature standing over 7 feet tall, its body covered in dark matted hair. Its eyes glowed with an unholy red light, piercing through the dense fog that clings to the swamps. The creature was said to emit a low, guttural growl that sent shivers down the spine, a sound that seemed to echo deep into the forest, warning all who dared approach. The Fuke Monster didn't just lurk in the shadows. It was rumoured to stalk homes and farms on the edges of the swamp. In one particularly terrifying account, a family claimed the beast attacked their rural home, smashing through windows and clawing at doors in a frenzy. When they fired shots at it, the creature let out a blood-curdling scream and disappeared into the woods, leaving behind massive 3-toed footprints and a lingering sense of dread. Locals began to avoid the swamp at night, whispering that the creature was not merely an animal, but something darker, perhaps a spirit of the land, an ancient guardian awakened by trespassers. The area became steeped in fear, and many who ventured ventured too close reported strange sounds, eerie movements in the underbrush, and an overwhelming sense of being watched. Even today, the legend of the Fook monster persists. Some say it still stalks the Boggy Creek area, its red eyes glowing in the dark, waiting for the unwary to stumble into its domain. Others claim to have heard its haunting growl in the dead of night, a reminder that some creatures are meant to remain unseen, lurking in the shadows of the swamp, forever untamed. In the quiet town of Dover, Massachusetts, nestled among winding roads and dense woods, a terrifying legend emerged over 2 nights in April 1977. It was here, in the dark shadows and eerie silence, that a creature known as the Dover Demon first appeared, a sight so chilling that its image still haunts those who witnessed it, and its legend has woven itself into the fabric of local lore. On the night of April 21st, 3 teenagers were driving along Farm Street when one of them, a 17-year-old named Bill Bartlett, caught sight of something unusual at the edge of his headlights. At first, he thought it was a small animal crouched along a stone wall, but as he focused, he realised this was no animal. Staring back at him was a figure unlike anything he'd ever seen. Small, barely 4 feet tall, with a large bulbous head, too big for its thin, fragile-looking body. Its skin was a strange, pale, almost chalky colour, and it had long, thin limbs that seemed unsettlingly out of proportion. The most disturbing detail, however, was its eyes. Large, glowing orange orbs that seemed to reflect back the light, piercing and unnatural, as if they were staring straight into his soul. Bartlett froze, watching as the creature clung to the rocks with an almost human grasp, its long fingers wrapping around the stones like a spider's legs. For a brief moment, the two locked eyes, and an intense wave of fear washed over him. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, the creature scuttled into the woods, vanishing into the night. Shaken, Bartlett told his friends about the encounter, but it didn't end there. The very next night, another sighting occurred, this time by a 15-year-old boy named John Baxter, who was walking home along Miller Hill Road. He described seeing a similar creature standing by the trees, watching him with those same haunting eyes. Baxter tried to approach, but the figure slipped into the shadows, melting into the woods with an unnatural silence. Terrified, Baxter fled, convinced he'd encountered something otherworldly. The following night, yet another teenager, Abby Brabham, reported seeing the same creature while driving near Springdale Avenue. Her description matched the others: an eerily pale, thin figure with a head too large for its body and those unforgettably large glowing eyes. By now, the sightings had spread through the small town, sending chills through the community and sparking wild speculation. Over time, the stories evolved, with locals suggesting all kinds of explanations. Some believed it was an alien, a visitor from another world, accidentally stranded in Dover, while others were certain it was some undiscovered creature lurking in the New England woods. Paranormal enthusiasts speculated that it was a being from another dimension, slipping in and out of our reality, leaving only fleeting glimpses and unsettling memories. But for those who saw it, the Dover demon was real, a creature they could never unsee. The sighting sparked fear, yet a morbid curiosity lingered. dread that hung over Dover's quiet streets, yet its absence only deepened the mystery. Skeptics dismissed the encounters as the result of overactive imaginations or youthful hysteria, but those who witnessed it knew the fear was real, a gut-wrenching terror that could not be explained away. To this day, the Dover demon remains a chilling mystery, an enigma that defies explanation. Sightings have faded, but the story endures, passed down through generations as a ghostly reminder of something that walked among them, something that did not belong. The children of Dover grow up hearing the legend, warned not to wander too far into the woods at night, for fear of encountering the creature with the orange eyes. And on dark, moonless nights, some claim they still see strange shapes moving at the edge of the forest, a fleeting shadow with glowing eyes that vanish the moment you try to focus on them, whether it was a visitor from another realm or simply a trick of the dark. The Dover demon has carved its place in the dark folklore of Massachusetts, a ghostly figure forever haunting the wooded paths of Dover. Those who walk these paths feel a chill in the air, an unshakable feeling that something is watching, waiting just beyond sight, with hollow eyes and a chilling stare that pierces through the night. The Dover demon may be gone, but his legend lives on, a tale of terror and mystery, warning all who listen. Sometimes the darkness holds more than shadows, and some creatures are never meant to be seen. In the eerie silence of Bucksport Cemetery, Maine, stands a towering obelisk, a seemingly ordinary monument, yet one that bears a sinister mark. This is the memorial of Jonathan Buck, a man remembered not just for his life, but for the curse that darkens his legacy. Etched onto the stone, like an ominous scar, is the unmistakable shape of a woman's stocking-clad foot, or perhaps a boot, a symbol both strange and chilling. Legend whispers that Buck, a man of influence in his time, condemned a woman to death for witchcraft. Her screams filled the air as the flames rose, but before she was silenced, she cursed him with her dying breath. "I shall haunt you," she vowed, "and mark your grave as a sign of your cruelty." Townsfolk say Buck scoffed, dismissing her words as the ravings of a vengeful spirit. But as the years passed, the curse began to take form. After Buck's death, an obelisk was raised in his honour. Soon, whispers emerged that a strange mark had appeared, a single, ghostly footprint of a woman's stockinged foot, etched deeply and inexplicably into the stone. No tools could erase it. Attempts to scrub it away only seemed to deepen the impression, as if the spirit herself were renewing her claim. Visitors to the cemetery tell of an unsettling presence around Buck's grave. Some report feeling a chill creeping over them, or catching sight of a shadowy figure in the corner of their eye, an outline of a woman standing near the cursed obelisk, her gaze fixed coldly upon it. Local law insists that this ghostly figure is the woman Buck condemned, bound forever to the stone, her foot branded there as a mark of vengeance. Over the years, strange misfortunes have befallen those who mock the legend or touch the footprint in jest. A man who dared to trace the outline of the foot with his hand fell ill the next day, his fevered dreams haunted by the spectre of a woman's boot pressing down on his chest, as if crushing the breath from him. Others have reported feeling an inexplicable weight upon them, a pressure that lingers long after they've left the cemetery. The curse of Jonathan Buck's memorial endures, a ghostly reminder of a promise made in fire and fury. And so, the warning stands. Those who approach this cursed obelisk may find themselves marked by forces that lie beyond, trapped forever in the shadow of a vengeful spirit's wrath. shadows converge and fear festers. The legend of the clown doll terrorizes those who dare recall it. An eerie twist on the age-old tale of the babysitter and the man upstairs. This sinister story winds its icy fingers around the spine of suburban legend. It began innocuously enough, an ordinary evening with a teenage babysitter named Sophie, tasked with watching two young children in a sprawling old house at the edge of town. The parents had gone out for a rare night on the town, leaving Sophie in charge, the TV the only light flickering against the growing darkness outside. As the night wore on, Sophie put the children to bed and settled into the living room to await the parents' return. It was then she noticed a clown doll sitting in a rocking chair across the room. Its painted face was frozen in a too-wide grin, eyes glassy and unblinking, staring directly at her with an intensity that prickled the back of her neck. She tried to dismiss it as just another odd toy, but its eerie presence filled the room with an oppressive air. Unease twisted into dread when she received a phone call from the children's father, checking in. Mentioning the clown doll to him, she joked nervously about how creepy it was. Silence stretched on the line for a moment before the father's voice, now tense and urgent, pierced the quiet. "Listen to me carefully," he said. "Take the children and go to the neighbour's house immediately. We don't have a clown doll." The line clicked dead as panic surged through Sophie. Seized by terror, she raced upstairs to the children's room, her heart hammering in her chest. Bursting through the door, she found the children sleeping soundly, unaware of the nightmare unfolding. Without a moment to spare, she bundled them up and fled into the night, the cold air biting at her skin. Police arrived at the scene to a gruesome discovery. The doll was no toy, but a murderer dressed as a clown, hidden in plain sight among the children's toys. The house's back door showed signs of forced entry. The intruder had been inside all along, his disguise part of a macabre plan. This harrowing incident spiralled into an urban legend, whispered at sleepovers and retold at Halloween, a cautionary tale of the sinister lurking in unsuspecting places. To this day, the story of the clown doll serves as a chilling reminder that not all is as it seems, and sometimes the true monsters wear the faces of our deepest fears. Let's dive into the eerie tale of Carmen Winstead, a chilling urban legend that's been passed down through whispers. Relax, get comfortable, and let this haunting story lull you to sleep. Carmen Winstead was a 17-year-old high school student, an ordinary girl by most accounts. But her life took a horrifying turn one fateful day. It all started when her family moved to a new town. Carmen found herself struggling to fit in, especially with a group of girls who often bullied her. They teased her relentlessly, picking on her for things as trivial as her clothes and her quiet demeanour. One afternoon, during a fire drill at school, the bullying escalated to a deadly level. Carmen and the other students were lined up outside, next to an open manhole that led deep into the town's sewer system. As the drill went on, Carmen's tormentors decided to pull a cruel prank. They started pushing and shoving her closer to the edge, laughing as Carmen tried to maintain her balance. But things quickly spiraled out of control. With one final shove, Carmen lost her footing and plummeted into the open manhole. The fall was long and deadly, and when she hit the bottom, her neck snapped, killing her instantly. The bullies, realizing the horror of what they had done, panicked. Instead of confessing, they decided to lie. They told the teachers and authorities that Carmen had simply fallen in by accident. The school and police accepted their story, and Carmen's death was ruled a tragic accident. But Carmen's story didn't end there. Soon after her funeral, the girls who had been responsible for her death started receiving strange emails and messages. The emails claimed to be from Carmen herself, warning them that they would soon face justice for what they had done. At first, the girls dismissed the messages as a sick joke, but as time passed, one by one, they started to disappear. Each girl met a mysterious end, found dead in the same way Carmen had died, pushed into a sewer, their necks broken. Their deaths were unexplained, and rumours spread through the school. Then the emails began circulating more widely, warning others, "Pass this message on, or Carmen will come for you." The urban legend of Carmen Winstead, sometimes referred to as Jessica Smith, became infamous. People believed that failing to forward the message would bring Carmen's vengeful spirit to their doorstep, claiming them just as she did her tormentors. Tonight, we journey to Iowa City, where the eerie legend of the Black Angel awaits. Let the mysterious tale of this cursed statue guide you into a peaceful and restful sleep. Black Annis, also known as Black Agnes or Black Anna, is a chilling figure in English folklore. Described as a terrifying hag with a blue face, sharp iron claws, and a fierce hunger for human flesh, she lurks in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. According to the legend, Black Annis once lived in a cave in the Dane Hills near Leicester, which she is said to have carved out herself using only her iron claws. The entrance of her cave was surrounded by a large oak tree, from which she would emerge to hunt her prey. Her most infamous targets were children and young animals. The legend says that Black Annis would creep into the nearby villages under the cover of nightfall, dragging children back to her cave to devour them. She would skin her victims and hang their hides on the branches of her oak tree, using them to make clothing for herself during the harsh winters. Parents in the area used the tale of Black Annis as a way to scare their children into behaving or staying indoors after dark. The mere mention of her name would be enough to keep children obedient and fearful of wandering too far from home. Some versions of the legend claim that Black Annis could stretch her long arms through windows to snatch disobedient children from their beds if they didn't close their shutters at night. Despite her terrifying reputation, Black Annis also played a role in explaining natural phenomena. Her dark cave, according to local law, was believed to be an old burial site or a den she carved in the hillside. Some believed that her presence symbolised the harshness of nature, particularly the long, unforgiving winters that plagued the countryside. Over time, the tale of Black Annis grew in popularity and spread beyond the villages, becoming part of Leicester's folklore. Some say her spirit still haunts the area, while others believe she was merely a cautionary figure created to instill fear in children and protect them from the dangers of the wilderness. Today, Black Annis remains a symbol of fear and darkness in English folklore. Her legacy lives on as one of the most terrifying urban legends, reminding people of the thin line between the safety of home and the lurking dangers of the outside world. Tonight, we'll explore the chilling legend of the Beast of Bladenborough, a mysterious creature that once terrorised a small town. Settle in, relax, and let this eerie tale guide you to sleep. The Beast of Bladenborough, also known is an urban legend that originated in Bladenboro, North Carolina, during the winter of 1953 to 54. This eerie tale centres around a series of mysterious animal deaths that left the small town in fear. Over the course of several weeks, numerous pets and livestock were found dead, their bodies reportedly drained of blood, with locals attributing the attacks to an unknown predator. Witnesses described the beast as a large cat-like creature with dark fur, sharp claws, and glowing eyes. Some said it resembled a panther or cougar, while others believed it was something more sinister. The way the animals were killed, found with deep bite marks and their blood allegedly drained, led many to speculate that the creature was vampiric in nature, earning it the nickname Vampire Beast. As the attacks continued, fear spread through the town, and locals organised hunting parties in an attempt to track down the creature. Despite numerous efforts and a rising sense of panic, the beast was never captured or conclusively identified. Some hunters claimed to have spotted the creature, but it always seemed to vanish before anyone could get a clear shot. Over time, the sightings diminished, and the strange animal deaths eventually stopped. Though no solid evidence of the beast's existence was ever found, the legend persisted, with some believing the creature still roams the woods surrounding Bladenboro. The mystery of what truly caused the deaths remains unsolved, leaving the beast of Bladenboro to live on as one of North Carolina's most chilling urban legends. In this calming bedtime tale, we'll explore the curious urban legend of the 999 phone charging myth, a story about a phone trick that never quite worked but sparked imaginations. Relax and enjoy. The 999 phone charging myth is a widely circulated urban legend, particularly in the United Kingdom, that claims calling 999, the UK's emergency services number, can magically charge a mobile phone's battery. According to the myth, dialing the number and then immediately hanging up is supposed to give your phone an instant boost of power, effectively extending its battery life. This claim, although entirely false, has been surprisingly persistent, with many people over the years believing or at least wondering if there's some truth to it. While the exact origin of the myth is unclear, it likely began circulating in the early days of mobile phones, when people were still learning the nuances of how these devices worked. Some suggest it may have originated from confusion around how phones access emergency services even when they appear to have no signal or very low battery. This feature, which allows phones to make emergency calls even in unfavorable conditions, may have been misunderstood, leading to the belief that calling 999 somehow recharges the phone. or 112 do not have the capability to transmit any form of electrical charge to a mobile device. The idea that merely making a phone call could restore battery life is not supported by any scientific or technical evidence. In fact, making a phone call when your battery is already low can drain it further, especially if the call is placed to an emergency line. Mobile phones consume more power when trying to connect to emergency services, particularly if the signal is weak. So, far from saving battery life, calling 999 could actually lead to your phone shutting down faster. While the myth may seem harmless, it can have serious consequences. In the UK, calling 999 without a legitimate emergency wastes time and resources for emergency operators and responders. Every unnecessary call diverts attention from real emergencies where lives might be at stake. In extreme cases, repeated hoax calls can result in legal consequences. Intentionally making prank calls to emergency services is a criminal offense in many countries, and those caught misusing these numbers may face fines or even imprisonment. In the UK, making hoax calls to 999 can lead to legal action under the Communications Act 2003. Emergency service organizations, mobile phone companies, and fact-checking websites have repeatedly debunked the 999 phone charging myth. These efforts aim to educate the public about how mobile phones and emergency services really work in hopes of preventing misuse. In a world where misinformation can spread quickly, it's important to approach such claims with skepticism and rely on credible sources for information. If your phone battery is low, the only way to recharge it is to connect it to a power source. No phone call, emergency or otherwise, will change that. In summary, the 999 phone charging myth is just that, a myth. It's essential